Oh yeah. Oh man. This is some serious CRT gaming. And I managed to find my Grail in 2024. So I've been looking for this model for quite a long time now. And this is the simple reason because a lot of people were saying this is the ultimate Bang & Olufsen TV to buy. However, that is something we're going to be finding out to do because I also have the MX4000 and oh man, this thing is really dusty. So let's dust it off, let's play some old school retro games, because if you want to play some retro games on RGB and good SCART cable, yeah, we're going to have like an absolutely pleasant experience with Bang & Olufsen. However, I've been reviewing all kinds of Bang & Olufsen products, and this is the simple reason because these things are absolutely high quality. Bang & Olufsen is actually a high-end Danish consumer electronic company. It's known by its, distinctive designs and high quality audio. And particularly that audio part, that is why I love Bang & Olufsen. Visual wise, this thing comes with a Panasonic tube in the inside, where the previous ones was a collaboration with Philips. The MX4200 does have a Panasonic tube and a completely different experience. However, I've been, messing around with Bang & Olufsen CRTs throughout the years now, where one of them over here was the B&O Vision 1, a smaller model with a beautiful stand underneath. So there were so many different, televisions. B&O Vision 1, it was absolutely not a convenient one. And that's just a simple reason why I don't own it anymore. It was my first experiment with the old school CRTs from Bang & Olufsen, an absolutely beautiful and such amazing experience when just playing these old school games. Combining with an RGB signal, yeah, I had a blast to the past with these old school cool games. However, I was just really interested getting in CRT, but I removed Bang & Olufsen B&O Vision 1 from my collection and I went on a search to see what can I buy more. So nearby I managed to find myself the MX6000. There's also an 8000 model. I never got it simply because these things are absolutely crazy when it comes to the size itself. Playing the old school games on a massive CRT is such a cool thing. However, you need to have the space for it and I don't have this in my room. However, it's absolutely a thing I want to get back to if I'm having a massive studio and more space and experience these old school games, because the MX6000 was absolutely a very nice TV to own in the collection. But this thing was so heavy, I needed to have a forklift truck to drive this freaking thing around. Another TV I really enjoyed, but this was not for me. Enjoying some old school Time Crisis on such a massive television, I can tell you that was such a cool overall arcade experience. However, and I already mentioned it before, the size of this thing is gigantic. And how are we going to be comparing this? This is quite simple. I also did a side-by-side comparison with the MX4000 and the 6000, give you a small idea how small actually MX4000 is. And this is one of the reasons why I completely fell in love with this CRT television. That brings us to the MX4000 design, but also the 4200 is similar to this television. Particularly looking at the case and how everything works, there are some minor differences. First of all, the MX4000 comes with a Philips tube, and this is more like a different design. You can see the round shape of the tube itself, and that's one of the biggest differences. And I'm still in love with it because of the beautiful audio, and when it comes to the Philips tube, they look absolutely amazing. What is interesting when you're looking at the televisions, they have all kinds of different colors and also different connections, where this has even the option for an S-video in. We don't have this anymore with the MX4200, where it is a smaller TV. I had absolutely blast when it comes to playing some Sega Saturn and some light guns, because this is one of the reasons I also want to have a CRT, not only for the overall arcade experience when it comes to Neo Geo, but it's a lot of fun when it comes to playing some light gun games. The games, how they should be played. That brings us back to the MX4200 from Bang & Olufsen. Let's chit chat about it, and also let's do a comparison with the MX4000. It uses 70 watts of power, and one of the things I love about this television is the beautiful front glass. And yeah, cleaning it up is also a nightmare, but it looks absolutely amazing. At the front we're having a connection for the old school inputs over there and an on and off switch. At this point I can connect every single SCART input device, and that makes it absolutely amazing. However, the power link, that is another story. Power link is something of a Bang & Olufsen thing. If you're buying old school, let's say CRT with some speakers, you can connect everything to each other. It was like this environment you can create with Bang & Olufsen, and where they were famous for, with beautiful, like stylish designs and having all kinds of cool features. For example, this disk drive that you can just open up, and this looks like a Star Trek thing. It's still mind-blowing even now. Where I love Bang & Olufsen and all of the cool things, we just bought it for playing retro gaming. And yeah, this is actually what we're going to be doing today. So you're going to be having such a blast to the past with a lot of different systems. If it's for the light guns or just the old school Street Fighter, N64 will benefit from a CRT because it looks so much better. Or if you want to slap it on the Super NES, and there are many different devices. Where the PlayStation 2 do have the option for an LCD display, it still looks great on a Bang & Olufsen. So let's check out some systems, and of course we're going to do some real Neo Geo power today, because that is the ultimate combination, a CRT with some Neo Geo for arcade at home. But how are we actually going to be using in Bang & Olufsen TV? That is another thing, and quite interesting. Sometimes you will find these devices without a remote, and that has to do because these remotes are kinda universal. We have a couple of different models. This is just some basic version where we can have the option to control everything when it comes to audio and visual wise. However, when you're looking at it, we do have some limitations when it comes to programming the remote itself, because we can even do that too. It's absolutely beautiful, let's say, remotes. They're fully made of aluminium, what I understand of, and they are quite heavy and very durable. And one of the things that appeals to me when it comes to Bang & Olufsen. However, with one of the remotes is a great example is the B&O Vision One. It is a beautiful looking one, very stylish, but it's limited to a single or a couple of TVs that you can use it for. And if you want to navigate through the menu or switch channels, it's going to be absolutely hassled when it comes to that. But today's video we're going to be using the deluxe version with an LCD, because we can program it to set to format. And what I mean with format is you can set up the format of the television, because I did notice some minor problems, and the right one, I still own it, but I will never use it most of the time, simply because we're going to be needing the deluxe remote for programming and having some special features. With the MX4200 we need to set it to format mode, and with format mode we can switch to the right format, otherwise my display is going to be looking very strange. So one of the things you need to take consideration also if you're getting a CRT, that you're going to be getting the right cables. If you're going to be using the original cables, the signal is not going to be looking super stunning, and we do have some interference there. So at the left we're finding even some RGB cables, and with RGB cables we have the option to have like the full potential of the console if it supports RGB at all. So with the N64 we are limited, or you need to be RGB modding your device itself. But come on, let's do a quick recap of one of those favorite games I love to play on the CRT, and Time Crisis is one of those. Okay, so time for some old school, let's say Time Crisis. Man, it's a long time I've played this. So let's see how it actually going to be working out. Oh, I think I need to recalibrate this thing, but yep, I need to recalibrate. Oh, it is absolutely a lot of fun. But it works absolutely perfect. So where the N64 is, I think it's one of the systems that you should play on a CRT, because on an LCD they look so ugly. I just need to point out that I didn't use the best cable. I couldn't find an RGB cable, but there are so many different ones out there, and I just wanted to see how it actually looks on this television with just an old school AV out cable. And even with the AV cable you need to be very careful, because we have a lot of Chinese clones. They're like awful. They don't work at all, I have a lot of issues. However, this seems to be working just fine. I can tell you that playing N64 now, it's not that bad. So let's move on to some Street Fighter. And the image itself is looking really nice. However, I must say that I needed to get used to the different kind of display, or at least the CRT they're using, because it's a flat design. So also the colors and everything is completely different from the MX4000 that I've reviewed before here on the channel. But playing these games is absolutely a blast. I can just enjoy it so much. And I think the audio is just one of those experiences I'm missing out with many televisions. But there is another reason I want to have a CRT in the collection, and this is of course for the Neo Geo, the ultimate arcade experience home. And now with a beautiful CRT, let's check it out and let's have some fun. Let's see what the cheat database has. So enable auto fire. Oh, that's so absolutely amazing. Oh yes, absolutely amazing. So playing some Neo Geo, and it doesn't even matter if you're going to be using an AS or an MBS. This is a modified system with Unibias 4.0 with all of the cheat enabled at the moment. It's so much fun to just mess around. And you're playing some Neo Geo on this, man, the overall experience is so cool. But I can tell you that it's such an overall experience that when you're playing some Neo Geo, I can just enjoy it on an LCD display, particularly when you're having like a nice RGB cable. It looks fantastic, but on the CRT, this is just how it should be played. And I completely understand where some people were hating on me when I was just playing with Neo Geo in the first videos on, let's say, an LCD display. However, I think also like everybody should like play the games how they just want to play their games. But another thing I wanted to do is actually doing a quick comparison with the MX4000. What is then the difference between the two of them? But when you're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison, you can just clearly see a massive difference between the two images. We just have like one static color, but let's get into the gameplay and let's do some overview of a couple of games with the PlayStation. So with the MX4000, you can see over here at the right, because the tube inside of the CRT is going to be like say a different model that had like a different surface, where the right one over here is in flat, and you can just see that the lining is beautiful and straight. But when it comes to the colors itself, I do have a personal strong preference when it comes to the MX4000.
The taste of revenge is sweet.
What is even more interesting when you're looking at the 4200 model, you can just see when you're looking at the grade that with the older model there is more brightness, but I do see there is more detail with the MX4200. But the overall experience, I find it quite difficult to give myself, let's say, a winner to one of these, let's say, television, because both of them are just amazing when it comes to the screen or the visual and the audio part. What is maybe even a better comparison, it's going to be the side-by-side logos of PlayStation, where we can see like where the white is so much better with the left one over there, but when you're going to be looking at the right one, you can just see how dark the dark is. And that is absolutely like one of those positive and negative things when it comes to these, let's say, televisions. There always will be a positive and a negative side. But still, it's very interesting to see both of the televisions next to each other. It's so, let's say, a massive difference when it comes to the tube and the inside. So where I love the picture quality of the right one, because everything looks so much sharper and better. Woo! See me fly.
Fight.
The Bang & Olufsen MX4200 is absolutely a beautiful device, particularly when you're looking at the tube of Panasonic. It's absolutely such an improvement overall with the Philips, but however, both of them have the positive and the negative sides. If you're going to be plugging in, let's say, a Neo Geo on this machine, or just want to play some light gun games, yeah, this is going to be absolutely a fun thing to do. Here on the channel we're going to be reviewing more light gun stuff, so if you're interested in it, so consider subscribing, hit the little bell. I hope you really enjoyed this video, because this is absolutely pure nostalgia, and I just love CRTs and Bang & Olufsen. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.